Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical and welcome back to another video. Today for you guys, we're going to be doing something a little bit unique. Today we are going to be exploring the mini worlds of Kingdom Hearts 1 and going out of bounds. Now essentially what you guys are looking at right here isn't actually Kingdom Hearts 1 per se, like it's Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's not Kingdom Hearts 1. We're not actually in-game as of right now. This is actually on my browser. This is within Google Chrome, which I think in itself is kind of a little bit crazy. This is a website known as noclip.website, which is, I guess, like a repository of different games. As we can see here on the sidebar, we have games from the Wii, we have games from GameCube, Nintendo 3DS, DS64, PlayStation 2, Xbox, PC. Not every single game in existence, but a small collection that allows us to actually explore the different environments and maps and areas and whatnot. I think it's pretty insane that you can do this all within your browser. And if you guys are interested in doing this for yourself, then I'm going to leave the link in the description down below. It pretty much allows us to take control of the camera and look at these different areas out of bounds, which I think is really, really unique, considering it's kind of hard to do this specifically in Kingdom Hearts 1 or even Kingdom Hearts 2. Yes, we actually do have Kingdom Hearts 2 here, as you guys can see, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. So we will be doing a follow-up video talking about the out-of-bounds areas and whatnot for KH2 as well. So of course, let's start off with the most famous world of them all, Destiny Islands, where everything began without the palm trees. The palm tree poachers, man. They're getting ravenous these days. I mean, I don't blame them. The Destiny Island palm trees go for a hell of a lot on the black market. So it's really unique to be able to actually see a lot of these familiar areas up close, and just to see how they're all kind of stitched together from a different perspective. Of course, Destiny Islands is split into two separate areas, so the back portion of the island isn't here. This is only the seashore. Within this area though, the sea shack is actually completely modeled, which I find quite interesting, even though generally there is meant to be a door here, and then that transfers us into here. It's its own separate area. It is actually all completely modeled for the seashore portion. So this is the backside of Destiny Islands, the cove, and I've always found, I don't know if this is just me, but like the vegetation of Destiny Islands is very interesting. I'd assume that these are all like palm trees and whatnot, but just like the coloration with the turquoise and the green, and it's like the purples and pinks and stuff. It's such a beautiful looking place, and you know, I really do hope that for the future of Kingdom Hearts, this is something that I've just always just constantly talked about. But we need to be able to fully explore Destiny Islands again. Like, we kind of got that in data grading for Kingdom Hearts 3. There's a very small portion of which and I know what you're thinking, like, there's really not much to explore in Destiny Islands, but as we saw in Kingdom Hearts 2, there is actually a mainland. So to actually have Destiny Islands as a proper world is certainly a possibility. It's just, what exactly would we be doing there? I don't know. I'm sure Square Enix Tetsuya Nomura could come up with something interesting. Again, dude, these damn palm tree poachers, they're all gone. They're all gone. And the star tree thingy, gone as well. Dang it. Now, this is a pretty cool one. This is Sora's room, which of course we only get to see very briefly in a cutscene. So here we can actually see it all up close. You guys can remember back to the cutscene when we got to see Roxas's room at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 in Twilight Town. There are sort of some similarities, I want to say, especially with this little star robot thing. What is this? But it reminds me of that little like star device that Roxas has in his room. But you can see Sora is a full-blown kid, man. Like, he's got all these robots and toys and like masks all over the place. Wait a minute, dude, is that Aku Aku from Crash Bandicoot? We have some of Sora's clothes on the ground. There ain't no way these socks right here are gonna fit Sora's feet. You're lying to me, Square. You're lying to me. And yeah, apparently Sora does actually wear normal clothing. Amazing. That's the fact of the day, I think. Also too, Kingdom Hearts 1 did actually tell us that Destiny Islands does actually have a mainland. As we can see the smaller island out there from the window of Sora's room. So yeah, as we do know, obviously Sora, Riku, and Kairi used to take little rafts out, little boats out to that island, and that's where they'd sort of hang out. That's it right there, ominously sitting off into the distance. Wait, hello there? there's another room in here. So this is the exact same room. Again, this is Sora's room, except this is one that is, I'm assuming, used for a different purpose because the window is closed. Now this is really interesting. I don't think we'd ever see this in a cutscene, but on the roof, Sora has like a map, and oh, this is absolutely wholesome. A little picture of 3 kids in a boat or a raft, which is clearly got to be Sora, Riku, and Kairi. So there's nothing really inherently interesting about the Dive to Hearts section right here, but I thought it would be worth mentioning that all 3 of these pillars do actually exist within the same space, which is probably a no-brainer, but it's really cool being on one of these pillars and seeing the other 2 off into the distance. So as we know, Disney Castle wasn't in Kingdom Hearts 1. We did get to see it in some cutscenes, so that's hence the reason why we can actually fly around and explore a few areas of Disney Castle. Judging by a very early beta trailer, it looks like Disney Castle was going to be an actual world that you were going to go to, but of course that ended up getting scrapped and it was later put into Kingdom Hearts 2. But here we can actually explore the audience chamber, which is really nice. It's just how we remember it from Kingdom Hearts 2, with of course the big statue right here of Goofy and the big statue of Donald. Here is the door, and we can actually pop out into the hallway, and what do you know? There we go. This is the hallway, looking a little bit different, but as we know, at the beginning of KH1, this is where Donald is like screaming down the hallway. Now we're upside down. Oh my god, hello. And here is the study. Also, what's interesting too is these pictures of classic Mickey and Minnie have remained on this desk for all of the different versions of Disney Castle that have appeared in Kingdom Hearts, and they're even here in KH1, which is kind of neat to know. Everything has Mickey Mouse stamps on it as well, like the little ink container there, the letter. You can also see a piece of paper as well as the lamp. That's super cool, man. So this right here is the courtyard section. Of course, again, we get to see this at the very beginning of the game with Goofy snoozing down here outside the Gummy ship hangar. It's looking a little bit different from how we know it in Kingdom Hearts 2. Obviously, they changed up a few things, so there's like different pathways around sort of the back that you can explore, and I also believe some of the topiary bushes, there's some other ones that were added as well. Fun fact too, these characters are actually from an old Mickey Mouse cartoon, I believe like Mickey Mouse's March or something like that. Very strange seeing this from a different perspective and seeing how like the pillars kind of bend. That's really cool. So this right here is the Gummy ship hangar. This is another room that we only get to see very, very briefly. We get to explore a little bit of it in Kingdom Hearts 2, but yeah, again, it looks like it's, oh my, wait a minute, what is going on here, dude? Wait, the castle is inside the hangar. I was about to say, it looks like it's remained pretty much the same from KH2, so they obviously just used the same model. Yeah, they pretty much just used the same room, same area, same models and whatnot. But I don't know why the castle is in here. This is really strange. We of course also do get to see a little cutscene, just in case you guys are thinking about this hallway and the staircase. We do see a cutscene of Donald and Goofy walking down this. Oh, okay, no, it's literally the world. So yeah, there is a cutscene where, like, you actually see this, probably, I think, from, like, hold on, if I go over here, it's from, like, this perspective, and then we see Donald and Goofy drop out the bottom of the world in the Gummy ship, and then they fly off. So, yeah, that's that cutscene. It must be a part of this area, then, and as of right now, it's all jumbled up together. This right here is the Epilogue section of KH1. This is the grassy field that appears right at the very end of the game. This is obviously where Sora, Donald, and Goofy end up, and then they find themselves, of course, at Castle Oblivion. Really cool to be able to actually just explore this. Obviously, Riku and Mickey at the end of Chain of Memories, they end up here, but it is, it's nighttime. What is it, the Road to Dawn, or whatever that Riku calls it? That's what he's walking. And you'll also notice there is like a wind effect going through the grass. It's these like small little details that Square at the time, you gotta think at the time, this is 2002, they really didn't have to add, but they did. And this really does get me thinking, like, Kingdom Hearts, the games, I think they'll always be timeless games in the ways of the visuals. Sure, in the sense of like cartoony based games, they look even better these days, looking more like sort of Pixar films. But because these old cartoony games that appeared on systems like PlayStation 2 have that sort of very bland aesthetic, it means that they age very gracefully when talking about the graphics. I mean, this, to think it is a 2002 game, kind of does blow me away a bit. And of course, remembering, we're not really meant to see a lot of this area at all. So of course we've got to talk about Traverse Town. I don't think there's going to be anything too interesting kind of here, but one thing that I did see, and that I don't think I've really ever noticed, is there's another hidden Mickey up here on the See You Again sign. It's nice to see some of this signage up close. Like, I didn't actually realize that there was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Chinese symbols? Most likely it's Japanese symbols. But we do have some either Chinese or Japanese writing right here for the cafe and bar sign. So yeah, you will notice that for a lot of these maps, as I was talking about towards the palm trees, the placeable objects that get put into these areas, they are missing. So for the likes of things like doors, crates and whatnot, you'll notice there's no crates here in the alley. They are not present. I've never noticed this wacky looking clock up here. Very strange. There's a lot of wackiness when it comes to the aesthetic of Traverse Town, right? Everything's kind of bendy and warped looking. Like these odd looking speaker things. Very strange. Right here is Merlin's house. It's great to see this again. Again, nothing really too interesting here, though. One thing that I've always been curious of, so this is meant to be the roofs of Traverse Town off on the other side of the cliff. If we go outside the map, yeah, it's just a bunch of shapes. But it's really cool to actually see the techniques that developers used in order to make something look a certain way when in actual fact it's not that at all. I've always been taken back by Merlin's house. It looks an absolute fucking mess, dude. Like the roof, oh my god, it's seen better days. The random like umbrella thing that's here. He really upgraded when he moved to Hollow Bastion in Kingdom Hearts 2, dude. Like his actual front door is all completely boarded up and he's just got a fucking hole in the side of his house with a bed sheet over it. Now this is obviously the Big Ben, the clock tower in Neverland. It's just how we know it. It's pretty cool to be able to explore these streets and kind of see the surrounding buildings. Obviously all very lowly detailed, but still interesting nonetheless. I never noticed the low frames on the animation of this flag over here. But why I wanted to talk about this is in this collection of areas, we actually have the beta version of the clock tower. So look at this, dude. It looks very different. Obviously there's some stuff missing up here, but the actual clock face looks just vastly different. Again, this is the beta version, so of course it still would have been a work in progress. We've got what looks like a clock tower texture just sort of floating off in the distance. I would say this is probably the model of the clock tower that appeared in that beta trailer for Kingdom Hearts 1, where Riku is about here, I think. Or no, I think he's actually maybe at the top, or he's holding onto some like pole on top of the roof of the clock tower, and it's a cutscene that never actually made it into the final game. Alright, let's take a look at some of the Hollow Bastion stuff. So this is the Grand Hall, obviously the area where we showed down with Riku Ansem. Here are the little sort of, I guess, capsules for the princesses. Obviously they're not there. But what I did find a little bit interesting about this is the room that is within, obviously, this like little heart thing, the heartless symbol, is actually in here. This is where we fight the behemoth. It's in the same area. Also, too, the reoccurring theme of having blue, green, and red. These colors generally represent Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Thought it was a neat little kind of detail, but they are the buttons here on this like little computer thing. Trust me, if you think about it, keep this in mind. If you go through the Kingdom Hearts games, just pay attention to the reoccurring theme of green, blue, and red. The most recent one that I've seen is that device in Scala for Kingdom Hearts 3. We got expanded Scala, where it brings up that little diorama thing of Daybreak Town. Those three orbs are blue, green, and red, so it's a reoccurring color throughout the series, I've noticed. This is, of course, the very first area of Hollow Bastion, the Rising Falls. Such an iconic area for sure, but I think what's really cool about this is if we take the camera all the way out, it looks like a butthole in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it actually does look like a butthole in the middle of nowhere. Also, too, what's cool is, for the most part, the castle does look like a 3D model off in the distance. Obviously, there's a lot of 2D assets kind of just sticking out all over the place. But a lot of this castle is actually 3D. Big mechanical arm thing that kind of sticks out. All of the castle pillars. It's really just the face of the castle right here with the Heartless Sigil. That is a 2D asset. But again, it's really cool to see the techniques that developers use to sort of give an illusion of certain things. So this right here is the castle gates. We have a neat little Heartless Sigil sitting right there. I don't think I've actually ever noticed that. But one thing that I did find is, and I don't know why this is up here, maybe it's to help with geometry and placement for the upper areas. Because of course, once you make your way like up the castle, there is another outside area, and then you make your way over to, I believe it's this portion of the castle, and there's like a hole in the wall, or like a door, sorry, and it brings you into another part of the lift stop. So this interesting thing right here is probably placed to help with the geometry of location, but some sort of random Heartless box is just sitting up here. And again, you would never see this. You would absolutely never see that. I actually realized after recording the video that that block right there is actually a movable thing at the top of the tower area that you move, and then you gain access to like a secret part of the lift stop. But still interesting to know that it's part of this specific area where you would really never see it. I would say it's just here for location reference. So this right here is the end of the world. So what we're looking at is the small arenas that you get transported to when those big orbs of darkness capture you. You get transported into a little arena thing. You gotta take down a few waves of Heartless, and then you get transported back to the very first room of the end of the world. But in actual fact, these little arenas that you get transported to are one big room, and it's like a little maze of sorts. So it's really cool to see the thing in its entirety. This totally makes sense though, because when you are in the arena thing, you can't obviously walk down these like little pathways. There are like invisible walls, but I guess it gives you the impression that you're somewhere else located in the end of the world. And it's smart because each time you get captured by one of those orbs, it'll just transport you to a different spot of this place. This is the giant crevice. This is my absolute favorite part of the end of the world. It is so wacky and unique looking, like with all the crystals and stuff. Honestly, like we've really never seen anything else like this environment, hence the reason I like it so much. It does in a strange way though, kind of remind me of the Cavern of Remembrance, just with all the purple going on. But a very wacky and unique area for sure. And I mean, just look at the amount of detail that is in this one level alone that you would probably spend no more than 10 minutes in. Like, Square killed it, man. They absolutely killed it with Kingdom Hearts 1. So this right here is the infamous door to darkness. Cool to be able to actually explore this, because I've never noticed this at all because I'm too busy paying attention to the cutscene in hand. And I don't even know if like the camera angle during the cutscene will even give us a perspective of this, but there is literally a massive heart around the door, which is super cool. And of course, if we go in here, this is where Mickey Mouse popped up for the one and only time of Kingdom Hearts 1. This was of course due to a contract agreement between Disney and Square. This was to safeguard Mickey in a sense and to not overuse him, just if in case Kingdom Hearts was a flop. Obviously, they got permission to be able to use Mickey a lot more for Kingdom Hearts 2 due to the success of Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, very interesting, but a wacky room for sure. If we actually go out enough, you can see the two stitched together. Now, one room that is definitely worth mentioning in the end of the world, and it's a room that we don't get to go to in Kingdom Hearts 1, this is actually cut content, is Crumbling Island. Yeah, so this was cut. It is actually featured in concept arts and whatnot. There is a concept art that you can discover if you just type up Crumbling Island. But this was meant to be an arena where you would fight another version of Ansem Riku. Really cool. It's, of course, Destiny Islands, all thrown into darkness, but a portion of it that we just don't get to see. I'm loving these like big roots that are sort of coming down over the edge here with like the blue stuff going on with the crystals ingrained into them. Really unique, and interesting to know that Crumbling Island has been left in the files of the game. So what we're looking at right here is the Cave of Wonders, and this is that segment when you're on carpet and you're escaping the cave as it's all sort of crumbling down, I believe after the Jafar fight. You never really get to see this up close because it just, the minigame, it's happening so quick. So to be able to actually see this, I'll go so quick, and here's me zooming through like Sonic. But there's obviously not too much to see throughout this little cave area. But of course, during the actual minigame, you're having to like dodge these little spiky rocks and whatnot. And here we come into the actual interesting part. So yeah, interesting looking fire effect. Again, it's just really interesting to see this all up close. No crazy details or anything like that, but we just don't get to be able to like take this all in at all, like ever. So really, really cool. And then that is the exit right there, the mouth of the Cave of Wonders. Ba-boom, ba-boom. A little smaller than I remember it. This is the Kurt Ziza Arena, but the interesting thing about this is, yeah, the Cave of Wonders is in the same area. Obviously when you're in here you don't see it because of the little sky dome thing, but it's located in the same space. Very, very cool. And yeah, we're missing the panther head right here. The cave has seen better days. So what we're looking at right here is a beta version of the Undersea Valley portion of Atlantica. This is a beta version because it's all untextured, like completely untextured. This is what looks like the very beginnings of the development towards the actual level. And it, I think the skybox is Olympus Coliseum, I think. Yeah, and this is the finalized version. It's crazy, man, like really crazy to see. And there we go, they got the right skybox. Not that there's really a skybox in this level, it's just like a skybox that looks like the sun is kind of glaring through the ocean. This is the Manor Ruins for Halloweentown, and my god, it's all jumbled together. I don't know what's going on here, Ugh, but it doesn't look healthy. What's really interesting about this is if we take the camera underneath, there is the keyhole texture just kind of sitting there. I've never noticed this, but there are like chopped up king playing cards in the torture chamber room. I've never noticed that. The stomach, throat, and bowels are all part of the same space for Monstro, and obviously there's no skybox for Monstro because we're inside a fucking whale. But if you go outside, it kind of looks like the skybox used here is Destiny Island. And then I thought it'd be quite interesting to take a look at the chamber area, just because of how much of a labyrinth this world is, but you can imagine it's all within the same space. But look at just how many different like doorways there are leading into like all the different areas. Again, this really goes to show with being able to see just how many doorways there are, how much of a gat-dang labyrinth this world is. So that right there, guys, is all of the more interesting stuff for Kingdom Hearts 1 out of bounds, thanks to the NoClip website. Again, if you guys want to try this out for yourselves, I'm going to leave the link in the description down below. And remember, it's not just Kingdom Hearts that you can explore here, there's all sorts. We've got Twilight Princess, we've got Wind Waker, we've got Luigi's Mansion, we've got the Mario Galaxy games, there's even a sort of experimental version of being able to explore Super Mario Odyssey as well as Smash. There's a whole collection here, so try it out for yourselves. All you need is the power to run Google Chrome. Alright guys, hopefully you're having a fantastic day. I'm Cynical, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.